Welcome back to Real Conversations with Nora for our 60th episode. And our topic of discussion this week is stop holding on to your past and gravitate towards your future. And my special guest is my girlfriend, JoAnne Barnes. Thank you, JoAnne, for being with us and joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I feel like I'm having a conversation with my best friend.
So good. I feel the same way. Yeah. So, audience, let me tell you about JoAnne. JoAnne Barnes is a woman on a mission who has dedicated her life to helping people change. With a passion for transforming lives from the arena of self-esteem and self-development, JoAnne is confident in her ability to connect and produce immediate and powerful results. She is more than a motivational speaker. You see, JoAnne is a master builder of people. JoAnne's personal success story began at the age of 38, and after 19 years in corporate America in the legal field, she has been a $1 million producer for a direct sales organization where she consistently broke company records and exceeded her sales goals. Today, she is the founder of the Institution for Innovative Excellence, where she is a transformational teacher and business coach specializing in leadership and personal development. Again, JoAnne, we want to thank you for joining us today. We're so glad to have you here with us. I'm so excited about having you on the show. I love
the pleasure is really mine, Nora. Really is.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way.
I so love this work that we get to do, and I think it's such an honor right now, especially with the world being the way that it is. So we get to help people really transform their lives and really, come to a knowing of who they are. I just thank you for the privilege.
Thank you. So I read something the other day that says, refrain from your thoughts from negative to positive. For example, my last relationship ended badly and I'll never trust anybody again, dwells on the negative. So to focus on the positive, you must refrain from the negative conversation and focus on the positive ones. Like, I had a rough ending in my relationship, but I'm working on loving myself and learning how to trust others again. And this in itself can help you to build healthy relationships. So what's your thought on that?
Well, I think that, to put your focus on what is in the past is always a choice. And in every situation, every experience of our life, we live at a choice point moment to decide, am I going to go back to the past, or do I really want to stay moving forward in my future? It's just really a decision. But I think it really does boil down to how much we love ourselves. I'm a big believer that I'm not going to do harm to myself. And if going back to the past and reliving those thoughts and feeling the emotion of it is what I do, and that puts me in a victim mode, then that's a choice that I'm making to stay there. It's not, we're a victim of nothing. No one is doing anything to us. We always can move forward because every day is an opportunity to recreate anew the day that you want, who you're going to be, how you're going to operate. And I think that so many people live in the past wanting to move forward, but they're looking in the rearview mirror of their life. And that's, again, I think all of our life is lived through choice and intention. What do you intend to have? Do you love yourself enough to move forward, leaving the past behind? Because it's just an energetic state of mind, really. And, we can always, it honestly boils down to two things: your decision, and do you love yourself enough to give yourself the best?
Wow. I also read something that if you felt stuck, year after year, and you want to ditch your past for a better lifestyle, try working on your daily habits. Doing what you've always done is always going to get you what you've had, and it won't take you to your future. But if you want to move from your past and have different outcomes for your future, you need to do more or put more effort into changing how you do things. So talk about that, daily habits that people have, saying the same thing over. Well, I'll never do this, and I can't do this, and this, that, and the other, just focusing on it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
If we think about where our habits come from a belief system that we continue to repeat over and over and over, like a broken record. And so to try to say that I'm going to do this differently or do that differently, the thing that I do believe I'm absolutely agree with you that if you keep doing what you've been doing, you will keep getting the same results. Nothing's going to change. So again, it's just making a choice to live from your higher version of who you are. I think a big problem that so many of us have is, being that we are human, is that we have a tendency to want to blame somebody else for where we are. I'm a big believer that every experience in our life is created by us. And that is being able to own that, if I'm in this situation, I had a part to play in it. There was a role for me to play in that. There was something in this that I created that was really for my learning. But we don't have a tendency to look at life quite that way. So the habits that we have are just continuing to do the same thing over and over again, because it's what we're used to, it's what we're comfortable with. Does it take work to change? Yes. It takes becoming conscious. It takes an awareness of who I am, and how I am in my life I'm not stuck ever.
Right.
Not stuck ever with, how I would choose to be. So habits are something that can be absolutely changed, but it does require, attention. And we have a tendency not to pay attention too much to ourselves.
Right.
That's why we get numbed down with, maybe shopping or watching TV or, drinking or eating or whatever we do to numb down the feelings that we want to. Yeah.
Right. And what do they say? Sanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over, and expecting to get different results, right?
Yeah.
And we do that. And when you say, I kind of think, JoAnne, that it's more so like with women, we're such emotional creatures, and men, they're like, I know I can have a conversation with Neil and he'll say, oh, okay, and then, he's just over it like that. And I've done lingered on it and I've created that habit of lingering on it and not letting it go. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that is so key for us as women, being emotional creatures, and how to deal with leaving our past behind, because that's our emotions, and taking and looking forward to our future, because our future is something that we can control, and our past is something that we can't because it's gone.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think that, there's emotion is really a part of who we are. Everything is created through emotion. There's a law in the universe, it's called the law of the mind. That says thought plus emotion creates our reality. And that's the truth. So let's say, for example, we have emotions that are based in fear, that's going to produce a negative result always. Right. If we understand that thoughts are energy, this is so important. Every thought I think has an energetic component. When I think a certain thought and I mix that with being emotional, whether the emotion is fear, and by the way, fear is the greatest catalyst to create what you don't want. That's why Job said in the Bible, the thing I fear has come upon me.
Right.
The emotion of fear, and most negative energies have their basis in fear.
Right.
So if I'm holding on to something and I feel fear about it, or I feel anger about it, or I feel any kind of discordant energy about that, I'm going to create that thing over and over again. So then it becomes habit. But as women, I honestly, Nora, I would say this. It boils down to us really not understanding who we are.
Right.
And who we are is more than a physical body. Who we are is more than our thoughts. We're more than our emotions. But the only way to get a handle on that is for me, I look at it this way. I try to rise up to the highest version of who I think I am. And that takes work. It takes, being aware that I'm the one that's creating this outcome, owning my stuff. I have this, I hope I can say this now. I have this prayer that I pray. And it basically says, it's called the Christ Consciousness Prayer. And it says, I accept all issues in my life as my own. I forgive myself for any negative harm caused myself and others. So again, if we can take the position to empower ourselves, to stop making it be about something else or someone else, and look within ourselves and say, how did I create that? And is this the outcome that I wanted? And is this the way that I choose to feel? Again, what do you intend for, and what choice do you want to make?
Right. I want you to send me that prayer when this is over. I love it. I love it.
You'll love the whole prayer. Maybe I'll get
love it.
We're done.
I love it.
I will send it to you.
Good. So I also read something. I was Googling. I also read something that says, if you want to leave the past behind, the best way to do it is to make your life different than it was in the past. And the best way to do that is to take regular steps outside your comfort zone. Commit to pushing past your fears, and we just talked about that, and trying new things, which is essential, it says, for the growth that you desire to have in your life. So talk about that.
I'm a big believer that everything created is created twice, first in the mind and then in reality. So I don't like the picture of the life that I'm living. I own it as my own. Then I've got to create a new picture. It's sort of like, if we can have the understanding that there's a song that says, I won't sing it, but everybody is a star, and we have to recognize that we're all actors in our own play. So I don't like the way my life is going, that I've got to recreate a different picture.
Right.
And I've got to make that thing up in my mind as to who am I going to be? How do I want to feel? What do I want my life to look like? Who are the people that I want to attract in my life? It's all about creating the story. Create not the story, because the mind gives us a story that's always going to be based in limitation and negativity. But it's up to us to decide and to make decisions and to really come from a place, again, of intention and choice. What do I intend for? I'm going to put that picture in my mind. I'm going to spend some time meditating on what I want that to look like. I'm going to know how it feels to be someone different. I want to know how it feels to step into my own power and not to be disempowered by this, by the past or stories that, that have been made up that I'm living from, that are absolutely erroneous, by the way, and outdated. So again, it's just update yourself I think breaking habits is updating and creating, what is the version of you that is really you? What is the truth of who you are? Not the truth of who people think you are. Who do you say you are? That's where the power lies. It's all
absolutely.
It's something that Tony Robbins said one time. He said, what defines us most in life is our own definition of ourselves. And sometimes oftentimes we're our worst enemy. We are the biggest critic of our own life. And then as we invalidate ourselves, we betray who we are. And so this betrayal, then it goes out. That's the energy you're sending out. And guess what? You'll find people around you that will begin to betray you, just so that you can see a picture of how you're being and who you're being.
Right. I always tell people your subconscious mind is like a computer. Whatever you feed that computer, it's going to bring back to you. And so it's whatever you're feeding yourself, it's going to come back to you. If you speak it, it's going to come back to you, because you've spoken, you put it out in the universe. And who created the universe? God created the universe. I always say to people, why would God ever send you his best or take you to his best if you're not ready to receive it?
Exactly.
You won't get it.
Yeah. To take that a little bit deeper, every thought we think is informing ourselves on how to behave, because we are commanding through our words. That's why, if you think about the things that Jesus said, he said, why do you marvel at the works I do? You will do works greater than these, because we have the power to have the outcome we want. It's not something being done to us that we do to ourselves. About self-love. Everything to me goes back to how much do you love you? Again, loving yourself is important, because how do you love your neighbor if you don't love yourself?
That's right.
You don't give yourself the best. How can you give what you don't have to someone else? You can't.
That's right. I agree. Let's talk about letting go of your past, how important it is and also in doing that, creating a positive circle of influence. Those are people who feed you, not people who leave you depleted and feel like you're like, ugh, when you get off the phone with them. And I remember talking to a woman and I was like, okay, we have to have a come to Jesus meeting, because I can't, because after I get off the phone with you, I'm feeling like I need somebody to fill my cup up. And, and so we just started, talking. And then my husband was saying to me, he said, is that the same person you were talking to last week? Because she sounds different. Because I said to her, you're expecting God to send you his best when you're not even ready to receive his best, because all you can think about is what you haven't done versus what you have done, and so and your circle of influence. Who are those people that are pouring into your life? I love what Dr. Claudette Copeland says. She said, you've got to set boundaries around yourself. You got to decide who you're going to let into that gateway. So can you talk about that? Because that is so key. And I think that that's one of the biggest mistakes we as women, all of us have done it, make, is having the wrong people in our circle of influence.
And especially now when you think about, how much division there is in the world, even among families, you have to decide, what are you going to allow in your life?
Right.
If you met somebody out on the street who bullied you, you wouldn't find your way to be in conversation with that person or try to invite them in. Well, it's no different with people that are close to you.
Right.
If people do not enhance you, if people do not help you to be on a path where you're seeing yourself in the best light, if they bring you down, it's your choice to deal with them or not. I absolutely do believe in the law of attraction, that you attract who you are. And so when people start to fall away from me, those are people that don't need to be there. And I don't have any guilt or remorse or anything. It's just, this is my life. I'm going to live the best life I can. I'm going to surround myself with people who love me, and people who love me may not always be family. It may be, that you have people that are of the same mindset, because I do believe that that's really important, that you attract people that are like-minded. Like attracts like, and that is a law. So I don't, as far as creating a circle of influence, you will create your circle based upon the quality of your thoughts. Low thinking, low quality of people. So the higher you can think of yourself, love yourself enough to give yourself the best, surround yourself with people who lift you, not people who bring you down or are always judging you or criticizing you. And I've had so many conversations about this lately with so many people about, how life is, everything is so different now. And, to really, we've had to really cocoon ourselves with, with COVID and everything. We've had to really be in our own shell. And so coming out of it now is like to choose differently, choose wisely, the people you want to be with.
I believe it's in Proverbs, but there's a scripture in the Bible, and I do believe it's in Proverbs, where the Lord talks about your gifts will make room for you and put you before great people. And so how important it is for us to realize that we have gifts, and that, and that we need to use those gifts and not let other people take those gifts from us by what they say. Why are you doing that? That's crazy. I knew someone who did that and they weren't successful. All the negative stuff that we allow into our space. So let's talk about, why do you think it's so hard for us to let go of the past? And I have to go back to us as women. I'm sure it's men too, but since we're dealing with women most of the time, what is it about us that allows us, to make that journey of releasing the past so hard for us?
I think that it boils down to not knowing who we are, not valuing ourselves. People will only value you to the degree that you value you. So if you don't set any boundaries with people, and it's easy for them to pick up the phone and call you when they have a problem, and they dump their stuff on you, they walk away feeling great. You walk away getting energetically all of their stuff. For me, I know how to say no quick. I know whose space I'm going to be in, whose I'm not. And it's not, I'm not angry with anybody. I'm not mad at anybody. It's just a choice I'm making because I love myself enough to make the choice. And so that's, again, when we realize that every decision to stay stuck in the past, every decision to deal with a child who's, doesn't treat his mother well, for example, and to keep doing that over and over again, you're just enabling them, and they don't ever come around to see your point of view anyway. So bottom line is, I've just learned to value everyone the same. I know that we are all human beings on this planet. I believe we're all spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in the physical. I believe that there's no person that I think is less than me or more than me. I try to see people equal, but I also know that everybody is playing their role. And
Right.
if their role is to be somebody who is who's going to belittle you, you don't have to have that person in your life. And it's
Exactly.
nothing wrong with saying no.
Mhm, mhm,
Learn to say the word no. It's a complete sentence.
mhm. Well,
Without no, without explanation.
exactly, exactly. Sabrina always says, "Man, I can't believe you have the gift of release." I said, "Because it's not serving me. So
Right,
why am I holding on to it? They're
right,
not serving me. So if you're not serving me, then I don't have a problem releasing you.
right.
Look, deleting your email address, your phone number, and everything else
Yeah,
because I don't need to be connected anymore.
exactly,
Not to say that
exactly.
people can't change, but for this season in my
Right,
life and the direction in which I am going,
right.
I have to make that decision for myself whether I'm going to stay in that environment or release it."
Yeah, and how many of us can say that we can afford to stay in a place that makes us feel less than?
Mhm.
To me, that affects your health. I mean, how you feel about yourself. It affects everything, but
Mhm.
particularly now with the immunity situation we're dealing with,
Right.
you need to make sure that you have people around you that are healthy
Mhm.
because their stuff, their toxic thoughts can create
Mhm.
a toxic environment for you. And we don't even realize it because we're
Mhm.
not taught that. We're not
Right.
taught that what toxicity does to the body.
Right.
A
Right.
negative thought. There's so many people that have fear of COVID, for example. Those
Mhm.
people who fear it, they're going to draw it, no doubt about it. But
Mhm.
bottom line is, it's all about, again, managing what are our boundaries, what do we want in our life, and the type of people we want to surround ourselves with. So
Right.
it's
And
all
we
about love.
exactly. And we have the choice whether to be
Mhm.
happy or unhappy.
Exactly.
We have
Exactly.
that choice. We can
Mhm.
make that choice. So let's talk about how important it is. This is our last question. How important it is to realize that your feelings are valid
They are.
so that you can move on.
Mhm.
Oftentimes we don't even realize how valid our feelings are. And I was talking to a woman, maybe about a month or so ago, and she was saying, I tried school, has been on a job, not making any money, same job for 18 years. I said, you know what? That's your choice to stay at that
Mhm.
job. I refuse to believe that there's not, with the 18 years of experience, that there is not a better job for you. And so
Right.
if you keep saying that you can't get school and you're failing in school, guess what? That's what you are getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can validate your feelings or not validate them. But the
Right.
bottom line is you want to make sure that you're recognizing that, okay, this is the situation here,
Mhm.
but I
Mhm.
need to move on.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, man, there's a lot in that to unwrap. But if you think about feelings, our feelings are valid.
Right,
The situation though is because we will avoid pain. Okay, so
right,
we don't really want to feel anything.
right.
Why most people don't know how to breathe. They breathe into their lungs, and they don't realize that only breathing into the lungs always has them in fight or flight mode.
Hmm.
So to learn how to breathe and to be comfortable with where you are, but to resist pain. And this is what I say about pain. Pain means when there's something going on in my body. If I get a headache or if my stomach is upset, I don't assume that I'm sick. I say this: pay attention internally now, because emotionally something is going on. A
Mm,
person can never get sick or have disease in the body without there being an emotional component. So
mm,
are emotions important? Yes. Are your feelings important? Absolutely. And are you to invalidate yourself because you feel a certain way? No. It's to
mhm,
own it, not resist it, not suppress it, not stuff it
mhm,
down. And then then from there to go from, can I take the next thing to feel a little bit better? Maybe I'm angry as can be.
mhm,
I'm going to feel better in the next, I'm going to give myself 15 minutes to feel this way. But
mhm,
in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to let that go. And I'm going to move to whatever is the better, higher feeling for me.
mhm,
Because feelings are what send out, what
mhm,
emote out in the universe, the energy you're holding, and
mm.
you will attract out, you send it out, it comes back to you.
Yeah.
What you send out comes back to you. What
Mhm,
you give out comes back to you.
mhm,
And
mhm,
because we're not even conscious of
mhm,
how we're creating the life
mhm,
we have,
mhm,
we just leave our life up to chance. Not
mhm,
smart, a
mhm,
person who doesn't know who they are yet, but to
mhm,
wake up and recognize that you are more than you know.
mhm.
You have to be, because you are
Right.
you are a child of God. You
Mhm.
have to be more than what you think
Right.
you are.
Right.
No matter what other people tell you, no one's opinion is more valid than your own.
Right.
Now,
Right.
I'm a big believer in that. What other
Yeah.
people think of you, it ain't your business,
Right.
quite
Right.
frankly.
Right.
So what do you think about you, and how would
Right.
you move forward from just letting stuff go and staying stuck in the past, or deciding that today, you know what, I'm waking up to a new day. It's a new day that I can renew, a new day that I can connect again with a higher version of myself that is my divine spiritual self. We're all that.
Right, so. Right. I remember Larry D&G saying that, most of the time when, people act a certain way or, mean, nasty, he said, 9 times out of 10, they see something so powerful in you that they wish they saw in themselves. Right. So they don't know how to respond to you. So the best way that they could do is tear down you. And that, unfortunately, in their unthinkable mind, thinking that, oh, that's going to make me feel better, when in reality it's not, because that's what you think. You're just thinking that, oh, that's going to make me feel better if I tear down JoAnne or if I tear down Nora. But it's just, he said, don't take it personal, he said, because just look at yourself and see how powerful you are. And they see something in you they wish they saw in themselves. I never forgot that. Never forgot that.
Because every relationship in our life reflects back to us an aspect of ourselves.
Right.
You can't go through life thinking that, this person is in my life and they're this way. Well, whatever you see in them is also prevalent and relevant in you or prevalent in you. Not for any criticism or condemnation of that person, but for you to look and see, how is this showing up in me? If, for example, if you're around people who betray you, it took me 2 years back in the 90s to learn this. People betray you. The question to ask is not how are they betraying me? The question to ask yourself is, how have you betrayed you? Because you drew a person to betray you based on your own betrayal of yourself first. It must exist in you first. And again, that's owning what is ours, not blame blame game, and because blame leads to guilt and shame. That's another negative cycle we don't want to go down. We don't want to go down that road either. So it's just really interesting how our thoughts and our feelings, holding on to the past, never serves you. Never serves you. Because how will you create a future if you're holding on to the past? How do you get to the future if you're looking in the rearview mirror all the time?
Right. Absolutely.
Differently.
Well, JoAnne, wow, this was so powerful. I want to thank you for being our guest for this conversation with Nora. Are there any last minute comments that you would like to share with the audience before you leave?
Let's see. I just want to remind everybody that every day presents itself with a new opportunity to choose to live from the higher aspect of who you really are, to continue to follow the lead of spirit, follow divine God, follow God's guidance, versus listening to the negative voice of the ego, the lower self, the part of us that is the aspect that edges God out, earthly guidance only. We're always at a choice point moment, always to choose to come from your higher self or your lower self.
Right.
And neither one right or wrong, just different consequences.
Right.
If you want to experience negativity for the rest of your life, God says, okay.
Yeah.
There must be some lessons she ain't getting here.
Right.
I don't like to repeat the past. I don't like to, stay stuck in the same energy, because I can't move forward in my life. It's like, the way I kind of look at it is like you're, every negative thought, it's like you're taking a stake in sand, and you're nailing these stakes all around you, and you don't realize that you fenced yourself in. You cannot move forward, not because of anything or anyone other than your own decision, your own choice, and your intention. So.
And I want to learn my lesson in the beginning, because I don't want God saying, okay, well, you haven't learned anything. Let's go back to the back of the line. I don't want to start all over again. I don't want to start.
Yeah, sort of a waste of time, but many people will do that. So, so I will send you that prayer, Nora, as well, because there's power in really, owning your stuff, and and not blaming other people, and really surrendering all of our worries and concerns to something greater than who we are, and trusting it. Learning how to trust. Trust what is needed next, without having to know what's around the next corner. That's where the Christ consciousness.
Exactly. Can you tell our audience, or share with our audience, how they can follow you on social media? Can they follow you on social media? Or do you have a website?
I'm just going to say this. I'm not big on social media. I do have a website.
Okay,
it's www.joy JoAnne.life, Joy, JoYANN.life. It's my website. I don't do social media very much because most of my clients come to me through referral, and I really prefer it to be that way. So I could advertise my business. I don't, because I have more than I need, and I'm always getting new people, and I'm very grateful because I know that I work with women or people in general, where they are in their life. And so I just love working with the people that know that there's more to them. I love working with people who are ready to do the work, because our work is really internal. It's not what we do out there. It's what we do here. And so to teach people to look within, because if you don't go within, you will go without. This is spiritual work where we live in such chaotic times now. And so there's such a need for us to come home to ourselves, to ourselves. And I that's what I think. I'm a big believer in spending time with myself, cocooning when I need to, going within, connecting with God. And I just know that that's a life that I choose. And it has benefited me over the years. It just takes me where I want to go. And I love the ease and joy of it. I love the grace. I love all of it. And that's a choice that, we can all have. We can all be at a place of total peace and connection.
Absolutely. Well, once again, I want to thank you for being our guest today, and thank you for your insight on today's topic. It was so fun visiting with you. And to my Real Conversation with Nora audience, please follow us on social media, on Instagram at BWOTMFG, and on Facebook at Business Women on the Move for God. Visit our website at BWOTMFG.com and sign up for our new programs, and make sure you stop by a retail store where you'll find lots of great items for yourself and your family and friends. Ask your friends to watch the show each week and share it with others. And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Real Conversations with Nora. God bless you and have a wonderful day.
I'm going to have all my clients go there too, Nora, on Thursday.
Thank you, JoAnne. Thank you.
Love you. Bye, everybody.